Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I cut my hair at home. I have fine, thin hair and I'm actually going to be putting layers in it today. I have grown out layers and I know more than one of you have been burned in the past by getting layers at the salon. So I'm going to show you how to do it at home, but keep your length and add fullness and volume. I actually created a free guide for women who have fine, thin hair like me with some tips and tricks on styling, color, and everyday routine. So if you want to check out that free guide, there's going to be a link either in the description or up above. Just check that out and you can download it for free. Okay, so the very first thing you need to do is either wet your hair down with a spray bottle or just take a shower. I like to cut my hair wet first and then we'll go back once it's completely dry so that we can texturize it and cross-check it and just make sure everything looks good. So we're gonna start by sectioning. So I'm gonna take where my part is at. If you have a middle part, start with the middle part. So I'm gonna go right here with the tip of my finger on my comb. I'm gonna go straight down to my ear. We are gonna start in the back and clip away these front pieces. And I usually don't leave them hanging down. I like to clip them away so they're not in my way. And I don't wanna cut hair that's not supposed to be cut either. For the back of your head, you're going to go straight down the middle. So I'm gonna take about this much hair. I'm gonna go straight over because this is gonna be the very first section that we're gonna be working with. So I'm gonna show you why you should not cut straight across like this. That's gonna create like a V cut in the back. Instead of being straight, it's gonna look like a V and come to a point. And the reason being is because this hair in the back of your head is being over directed to the front. So basically this piece is gonna be longer than all these pieces right here that live right here. So what we're gonna do is cut it at a slight angle. And you need to make sure that the angle is consistent throughout the whole entire haircut for the perimeter. I am going to grab a lot of tension on the hair for the section, and you wanna make sure that this area is twisted like this. So don't grab it like this, make sure it's twisted so that this back section of hair is what the shortest piece is gonna be. So I'm gonna take it just like so, with my fingers pointing up, and I'm going to bring it forward just like this. Now this is how we're going to be cutting it. So I'm going to take my fingers and they're pointing down. I twisted it and this is going to be my first trim. So I'm going to cut straight just like that. Then we're going to put it down. I'm going to cross check it. Then we're gonna drop the next section on the same side, and this is gonna be our guide for the rest of the haircut. So you're gonna go straight across in the back, and remember our other side is already clipped away. So remember guys, you need to be cutting basically as low as possible because if you elevate the hair, it's going to be at a higher elevation and then you start to layer the hair. So this is a 0 elevation. If you're doing just the length, it should always be as close to here as possible. I'm gonna go just like so. We're going to flip it and I'm gonna bring it forward just like that. My fingers are pointed down and I'm going to look for my guide now. So I'm gonna lift this hair up so I can see that my guide is right there. If you can see it poking out right there. So I have more hair in the front now, so that's where we're gonna connect it. So I'm gonna brush, brush, brush. I'm gonna keep it as low as possible. And if you need to look at it like I do, you can go ahead and look at it. Just make sure you hold the tension. So I'm gonna look and cut. You probably should be wearing a cape for this. I am not, so that you guys can actually hear me and the sound isn't covered up, but you should be wearing a cape or you're gonna get hair all over yourself. Remember to keep your head straight when you're actually pulling it forward, because if your head is turned, that is gonna make it shorter or longer. So keep your head straight when you're pulling it forward. So we're gonna drop our last section here. I do have some grown out layers on top, so I don't think we're gonna be cutting a lot of hair on the top section, but we'll see. Next section, we're gonna comb for tension, and I'm gonna take the comb and I'm gonna flip it this way so that the back gets angled just like so. And then I'm gonna bring it forward. Here we go. Find your guide, right there. So we're gonna look and trim. Okay, make sure this side does not get cut with the other side. We're gonna create a guide for this side. so that it matches the same length on the other side. So when you lift this side up, this back piece right by your neck, that is where our guide is gonna be. It's the furthest back piece. So pull that forward, and then we're gonna do the same thing on this side. Find your furthest back piece. So these two need to be even. So I like to pull them forward just like that and cut your guide. Right about here. So right there. And we're gonna push this out of the way. Okay, so remember your fingers are gonna be pointed up so that the back piece is gonna be the shortest piece. Don't do this. Make sure your fingers are pointed up. So we're gonna comb, get our tension, twist, and make sure that we find our guide, which is right there. That's our guide. And we're gonna cut to it. So it's about 1 inch. So I'm gonna cut. And this is at a slight diagonal. Just a slight diagonal. At the end, we're gonna cross-check it and make sure everything is straight. I'm gonna take these two front pieces and I'm gonna pull them forward for balance. And when we say balance, we mean evenness on both sides. I haven't seen it yet, but it looks good. This side might be a little bit longer, so I'm just gonna check that now and fix it. There's not a lot to cut here. So if you have a little bit more dense hair, but it's fine, then obviously you'll need to section this, but I'm not gonna do any sectioning right here because there's hardly any hair here. So we're gonna just take them both down and comb them. You can already see that it started to dry, so I'm gonna re-wet that, not with my scissors in my hands. So in order to get a square shape or even shape, you're gonna grab your tension, and you're not going to be turning your fingers at all. They need to be parallel, basically with a sheet of paper. So they need to be going straight, just like this. And you need to have low elevation, so don't lift it up here and cut. It needs to be down here and cut. It's just gonna be straight across. And you'll be able to find your guide because you'll see where the hair starts to get longer. Make sure your head is straight when you're doing this. So now I'm gonna look at it. So I maintained where it needs to lay, and then I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna look. So there's barely anything to cut off. So you can see my guide is right there, and this is the length. There's literally hardly anything, but we're just gonna trim it right there. That's kind of the reality of having blonde hair and finer hair is the front section. It gets a lot more damage just from every day. It's like pulling your hair up from the sun, and it's always gonna be shorter than the rest of your hair. So now I'm gonna do this side. This side I usually literally have nothing to cut, but we'll see. Just a tiny bit. For your guys' sake, I'm gonna go ahead and clip away these two front sections because I'm gonna start with layering in the back. Usually I keep my layers in the back a little bit longer than in the front, so that's why I'm gonna start in the back. You can start in the front if you want to, but I don't want to get too short of layers here and then my layers in the back end up super short. So that's why I like to start in the back. So I'm gonna section these out and then I will see you guys when I turn around. If you are afraid and you don't wanna cut too much into your perimeter, because even without any layers in my hair, guys, you can see right through my hair. That's the struggle. So if you want to, you can basically go from here to here, this whole top section. You can clip that up and clip away your perimeter so that you don't cut into it. I'm not going to do it. I'm just gonna let the hair fall. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with the very middle right here, and we're gonna take pie sections all around the back. So I'm gonna comb away right here, and these sections should be pretty small, just like that. My section is in between my fingers, just like this. Comb straight out, and I'm gonna go like this with my fingers and cut. Actually, you can't pull it forward, so we're gonna do that. There we go. Okay. Now you can see kind of how it falls. Then we're going to take another section, a pie section, and we're going to half the section we just cut, and that way we have a guide for our next one. And this is gonna be at a little bit different of an angle because the hair is living differently. So I'm gonna take it straight out, you're gonna find your guide, and you're gonna cut. Come straight out. I let that hair fall if you guys could see that. So So you can see the shortest piece is right there. So we're gonna cut straight to match that guide. Just like so. Okay, I'm gonna show you how it looks from the front. You're gonna do the same thing as I did in the back, but we're gonna do this side now. So I'm gonna take my section that's right on the other side of the middle section that we cut the very first time. So I'm gonna lift straight up. You saw my hair fall out right there. We're gonna look for our guide. Our guide is sticking out just slightly, if you guys can see that right there. And then we're going to cut at a diagonal. We're gonna connect everything to this point right here. You always want a section right here. We wanna keep our perimeter thicker. So a lot of the times when you go to a salon, they're so used to taking your hair. Sometimes they'll come straight out with it and cut all that hair off right there. That creates a very heavy layer and it's very blunt on hair like ours. And not only that, but they're taking all of this hair and they're layering it. So basically you'd have nothing left right here. So I like to section this part out, like about from where my temple is at and down. So I do not cut this hair, leave this hair out. And I'm gonna join it to the top layer here. So we're gonna lift straight up. There is our guide. So we're gonna connect it to our guide. Right there. So I'm gonna start cutting the face trimming pretty low. So I'm gonna take this section here and I'm gonna pull it forward. Remember, you're always maintaining a lot of tension on the hair. So you're gonna take it, fingers pointed down, pull it straight forward, and you want your pointer fingers to be the very bottom piece of the hair right here. So you're only maintaining this section right here. So you see how long that is right there and how short it is right here. So we're gonna connect that. So from the shortest piece right there, we're gonna just literally follow that line. Just like that. Now you can see there's a short layer right here and everything else is long. So now we're gonna go and connect it to the bottom. So now I'm gonna go lower. And again, I'm going to be curving my hand. So pointer finger down. And you can see the shortest piece is right there. If you're afraid to cut, you can just do a little bit at a time. You wanna make sure it is very angled. Now to make it even softer, we're gonna take about this much hair. We're gonna go straight down with it and we're gonna come straight forward. So the easiest way to do this is gonna be actually with your fingers pointed up right there. And we're just gonna cut that little triangle off. Right there. Now at this point, if you guys can slide cut, this piece is a little bit blunt right here because this is my heavy side. So I'm gonna trim just this front part right here. Just a tiny bit, just to give it a little bit of curve. So I'm gonna take it just like so, flip it, open my scissors, and you want just the inside of your scissors to be sliding. So you're gonna close it slightly, just like that. I just wanna trim the very top of it, very lightly. And then you can already see it now, but when we blow dry it, it's gonna look even better. Now we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. All right, I'm pretty happy with where it's at right now. Like I said, you can always cut more. So we're gonna blow dry it and then I'm gonna come back and show you guys how it looks and how to check for balance and fix it if you need to. This is what it looks like after I just blow dried it. It has so much more bounce and life to it, like it actually looks like a haircut now. I love it. The only thing I need to do is point cut the front a little bit just because there's a lot of hair right here. So we need to make that line softer, but I'm gonna show you guys the back before I do that. So this is what the back looks like, if you guys can see. So I was able to maintain my length by doing just like an inch and a half cut, but look how much volume and texture there is now to my hair. Whereas before it was just flat. Let me turn to the side so you can see the side. The difference is just night and day. And then so very quickly, so I want this to be a little bit softer right here. So I'm going to take this hair and I'm going to flip it just like this and spread the hair apart. You're gonna take your scissors. Now, if you're just normal, you probably cut scissors like this. So make sure you're opening and you're closing. So you're gonna take it, spread that hair apart, and you're just gonna point cut right into it. Now I can do this pretty fast just because I'm used to cutting hair. If you cannot, just do it slow, just like I'm doing right here. And you don't wanna cut too deep into it. And look how beautifully that lays. It looks so much better. And with my hair colored, which if you guys want to, go check out my previous video. I just did my highlights, so if you wanna learn how to do that at home, go check that out. So we're gonna check for balance in our layers. So I'm gonna go straight across here. I'm gonna take that section, I'm pulling it straight up, and then I'm gonna take a look so I can actually see it, and it's literally pretty straight. I don't really need to do any texturizing too much. I'm just gonna point cut it a little bit. That is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. All of the products that I use will be linked in the description below, and I also have my new free guide, so check that out if you're interested. It is completely free, so if you want any tips, go ahead and download that free guide. Until then, I will see you next time.